And good afternoon. It is now noon on Thursday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anne-Marie Tiernan along with our meteorologist Rob Ellis. Talking about the weather first here at 12, and we're in the 80s and it's pretty clear this Thursday. So today, a lot better than what we see for tomorrow and the next day.
Yeah, it is going to get much warmer. Now look, if you're a fan of this summertime weather that we've had,
you're
in luck. I mean, all the way through next week. If you're looking for a break from the summertime temperatures, maybe a little taste of fall, I don't think it's going to happen, at least in the 7 days. So you got to stick with this, and we're going to have to really see the temperatures ramp up. I said that 87 is likely going to be our warmest temperature so far, or our warmest temperature of the 7-day forecast. Yeah, we're already into the 80s for most of you and expected to warm up for there, because look at this. We've got sunshines across the board here all the way through every location reporting clear skies. Expecting these temperatures to warm up, but again, not necessarily the warmest day in our 7-day forecast. This 84 will maybe add 3 or 4 degrees on top of that. Heat index is not as much of an issue. The humidity is not terribly high today, but it does feel like 86 currently, and there is really nothing moving our way. Even this system is fizzling out as it gets a little bit closer. So don't expect any major changes in the forecast. No major systems moving in, nothing to really give us significant rain chances in the short term. Lots of sun today, 87 for the high. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy, 70 for the low. That shouldn't surprise anyone. I feel like we've been right here for the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks or so. And then looking ahead to tomorrow, it's back to the 90s. These 90s are going to stick around for a while. We'll kind of put that in perspective as where we are with 2025 versus 2024. I'll have that for you coming up in a few.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right now, Metro Police are trying to find at least 2 suspects involved in a shooting with officers. Police say it started as a domestic call around 9 last night on the northeast side. That's when a woman told police that a man with a gun was assaulting her and then left in a car. 3 hours later, officers found the suspect's car near 30th and Ruckles Streets. A short police chase followed. That ended near West 28th and Indianapolis Avenue around midnight. Police say that 2 suspects jumped out of the car and fired shots at officers, and then an officer fired back. No officers or the suspects were hurt. The officer who fired their gun now on administrative leave. That is standard procedure. We do have a crew today following this investigation, and we'll bring you updates as we learn them here on air and also online. Right now, a motorcyclist is in the hospital after a crash on the east side of Indianapolis. Police say that crash involved a semi and a motorcycle near 30th and Emerson last night. At last check, the motorcyclist was in critical condition. Metro Police say the semi driver was trying to make a left turn into a gas station, but instead made a U-turn when he realized the gas station was closed. Officers said he told them he just didn't see that motorcycle before the crash. They took him to the hospital for a blood draw. That is required by state law when there's a crash with a serious injury. No word right now if any charges will be filed in this case. A 3-year-old girl right now remains fighting for her life. She's at the hospital at Riley Hospital for Children with IU Health. Her dad and his girlfriend are now facing abuse charges in her injuries. Police were called to that home that's located on Waterfront Drive last Thursday. They tell us when they arrived, the child was unresponsive. According to the court documents, Joshua Cahigas and Mealy Jackson told police that the girl fell when she picked up a 1-year-old and then hit her head. Doctors say upon review, they found a brain bleed, many bruises, and facial fractures. The girl was rushed into surgery to take out part of her skull to help relieve the pressure on her brain. Cahigas told police he didn't know exactly how she got those head injuries. The girl's mother, Lexis Burnett, was called to see her daughter in the hospital.
She's fighting for her life. She's still in critical conditions. There's still, recovery process that we have to do, but she is alive. I want to see her recover, and I'm going to be here while she does that. And even after we leave her, I'm here.
Burnett tells us that she now has emergency custody of her daughter. The girl's dad is also accused of forcing her to do discipline drills like wall squats, runs, and stands on the wall. Investigators in Muncie this noon hour are now trying to track new leads in the disappearance of a little boy. Hayden Manis was last seen in August of 2020. He was just 5 years old, and no one reported him missing until last fall. 13 Investigates first reported Hayden's disappearance, and just a few weeks ago, we debuted a documentary about this mysterious case. The Delaware County Sheriff's Department says that reporting has now generated new tips, and detectives have also conducted some more interviews in the case. And that's important because investigators are still trying to figure out how the boy vanished and who is responsible. You can see the 13 News documentary, What Happened to Hayden, right now if you head over to WTHR+. Investigative reporter Bob Siegel reveals a new timeline for Hayden's disappearance, and he also exposes disturbing information about what might have happened to the boy's body. If you would like to watch it, you have to download that app. It is free. We have new reaction now from city leaders on their decision to push back that closure of a homeless camp in Fountain Square. People living nearby have been talking about this issue for weeks, and our Alex Almanza talked with city leaders, specifically those who work in the Office of Public Health and Safety, and asked why 2 days have since passed since the deadline to shut it down, and the tents still remain up.
Our meeting with the director of the Office of Public Health and Safety yielded limited response in terms of a new deadline for campers to leave, though Director Andrew Merkley says that the public safety concern along Leonard Street has been addressed. He says individuals responsible for specific crimes such as firing a gun and animal cruelty are now in custody. Merkley says those kinds of crimes are what led to the decision to close the camp, but with progress made, they now need more time to make the next steps.
We will have updates in the coming days. I think it's important to note that we cannot move this challenge from one neighborhood to another or to other parts of the Fountain Square neighborhood. But we want to act with compassion and with urgency as we solve for this challenge.
Merkley also brought up a $10 million allocation to homeless initiatives in the 2026 budget, a proposed spending plan that was unveiled on Monday by Mayor Joe Hogsett.
Can you kind of break down where that $10 million goes?
We have not identified how exactly that $10 million will be spent yet. We know that a portion of that will go toward future phases of Streets to Home, but there's also other challenges, winter contingency, master leasing, that may need some portion of that in order to continue those efforts as well.
Now, in recent days, we've seen the number of tents in that area slowly dwindle, though homeowners there say they hope the city acts fast and in the best interest of public safety. In Indianapolis, Alex Almanza, 13 News.
The city says they're trying to work with community partners and outreach services to help people living in these homeless areas. You can read our extensive coverage of the situation right now if you head to our website, which is WTHR.com. Also this week, churches in Columbus are now stepping up and offering to provide spiritual services to eventual detainees at Camp Atterbury. ICE selected that Hoosier base as a potential detention center for illegal immigrants. And now the same churches which hosted Afghan refugees years ago say they want to be involved once again. The pastors at First United Methodist, St. Bartholomew Catholic, and First Pres hand-delivered a letter to leadership at Camp Atterbury last week. They're asking to offer spiritual and emotional support to potential detainees. So far, no response from Atterbury.
Just because somebody's in a detainment facility doesn't mean that they're going to be treated inhumanely. And so we are trying to make sure that if this comes to town and if there are going to be detainees there, that they are treated humanely. And part of being treated humanely means access to people who can be supportive and encouraging to them.
It was back in 21 that these same churches united and helped relocate Afghan refugees in the state of Indiana after being housed on the base there. The churches in Columbus are also helping to host a rally that will be at Columbus City Hall on August 23rd. The Colts are getting back on the practice field today up north in Westfield, and they're going to do it right alongside the Packers of Green Bay. Both teams gearing up for their preseason game. It is Saturday at 1 o'clock here at the Colts' home, Lucas Oil Stadium. And Colt City is open this afternoon at Grant Park if you'd like to go. It runs from 1 until 5. Practice right in the middle there from 3 to 5. Tickets are $10 and proceeds will support USA football. That money will then be allocated to support flag football in the state of Indiana. Eli and Dom are there gathering information at practice today, and their continuing coverage kicks off here on Channel 13, starting with our first newscast after this, which is at 4 p.m. Also on the north side, in just 24 hours, Live Golf will host its first tournament in central Indiana, and it's taking place also in Westfield over at Chatham Hills. Now, there are a lot of pro golfers that are going to be hitting the green, including Bubba Watson. There are several events happening around the tournament as well, including Riley Green and Jason Derulo concerts. Those concerts will be after the golf action at the end of Friday and Saturday. If you've got kids who go to the schools in Washington and Westfield, keep in mind that they will be closed tomorrow because of the tournament and all the traffic that is expected.